Stable Diffusion 3, it is finally released on Hugging Face as open source, allowing everyone to download and experiment with the new Stable Diffusion 3 medium models. You can download it right now and check it out. Currently, it only runs in ComfyUI and does not have support in Automatic 1111, Focus, or any web UI for Stable Diffusion at this moment. As you can see from their diagrams, these design models have a lot of scientific logic behind them. I won't explain too much about that, but the most important thing you need to know is that Stable Diffusion 3 is based on the model file itself. There are 3 clip text encode models that you have to coordinate with the main model files. These will handle the image noise denoise processing just like in normal diffusion models. It claims to have a higher performance than SDXL and SD 1.5. So let's check it out. In these videos, we will be installing the Stable Diffusion files locally in ComfyUI and see if they have kept their promises made during the announcement of Stable Diffusion 3. As mentioned in previous videos, I have talked about these models and their founding team members, though not the CEO. Here, Emad is showing a tweet about what Stable Diffusion 3 is capable of. It can control a lot of details in objects and do compositions based on the original image. Some videos also show collaborative image creation with Stable Diffusion 3. Let's see if they have done what they promised in their release announcement a few months ago. On this Hugging Face page, we see the files. I downloaded all 4 files here, but you don't need to download all of them, just the basic setup. The basic requirement to run Stable Diffusion 3 is to download the SD3 medium safe tensors file and place it in the local ComfyUI models subfolder in the checkpoint folder. You also need to download the text encoders. Click into these files, and you will see a folder with all the clip text encoders. I downloaded all of them to experiment with the 3 encoders, but for the basics, you need to download the clip G, clip L, and T5 XXL FP8 models files. This will be enough to run the basic minimum workflow for Stable Diffusion 3. Now, in ComfyUI, let's check out the workflow provided by Hugging Face. Go back to Hugging Face, and you will see the Comfy Examples workflow. Click into it. You will see 3 basic workflows generated from text to image. This is the multi-prompt workflow from their files. Once you download it, just drag and drop the JSON file onto the ComfyUI interface. You will see this workflow. For all the custom nodes here, you don't have to download any extensions or other ComfyUI nodes from GitHub. Just update your current ComfyUI system. Before you run this workflow, you have to fetch updates or update ComfyUI entirely, restart your system, and it will be able to run the new SD3 workflows. By default, their workflows load checkpoints, loading the SD3 medium safe tensors file, which is essential for running SD3. Download this file, and the next thing is the clip text. As we see, it is different from the previous versions of Stable Diffusion, where we used the clip text. Now we use the triple clip loader. This loads our 3 clip text models folder that we talked about in the models diagram. This design diagram shows 3 clip text models coordinating with the image diffusion model files. This is the architecture of Stable Diffusion 3. After connecting the clip, we connect the positive and negative prompts. Something new here is the condition 0 out, which is part of the Stable Diffusion 3 workflow. Maybe someday it will combine all these 4 custom nodes together in one. But for now, you have to remember to connect these 4 nodes. The negative prompt connects to the condition 0 out conditions, connecting to the condition set timestamp range. There are 2 condition timestamp ranges, one specifically for the 0 out conditions. After that, we combine these 2 negative prompt conditions from the timestamp range, connecting to the combined conditioning. This passes the negative conditions to the K-sampler negative connections, and we are done with the negative prompt. For the positive text prompt, it's easy. Just directly connect the yellow dot to the K-sampler positive prompt. Maybe later, we will see some control net or IP adapter, or as Emad mentioned, control compositions. Perhaps there will be composition models collaborating with Stable Diffusion 3 to enhance workflows. Currently, it is available for text to image or image to image. After finishing the conditioning, we connect the model files. The SD3 medium safe tensors file has the VAE encode. Connect the VAE data directly to the VAE decode to handle noise decoding in diffusion, converting it back to an image. So right here, the fixed seat numbers are just like usual. We have a seat number, but this is not going to be in the K-sampler. I found out that this is a really cool thing. They finally do individual seat numbers, custom nodes by default in ComfyUI. You are able to, do fixed seed numbers or randomized seed numbers here rather than by default in ComfyUI. You have those seed numbers in the K-sampler, so it's more controllable. If you have multiple K-samplers, you can connect these seed number data, the integer values, to different K-samplers groups as well. So let's start to see how we put the model folders in ComfyUI and integrate these SD3 models to run smoothly. Let's go to the desktop view here. First of all, I have the ComfyUI folder right here. As you can see, we are going to drag the downloaded files that we downloaded from Hugging Face. Now, I have downloaded all of them, the SD3 mediums. SD3 mediums include clip versions that will cost you about 5 gigabytes in file size. The largest one is the one that includes everything, clip and T5 XXL. I will try this out myself later on. That costs about 10 gigabytes. So, if you guys are running, on a smaller sized storage computer or on a cloud computer, I wouldn't recommend downloading these two. Just run. By default, the SD3 medium is good enough, so back to ComfyUI, we go to the models folder. First of all, we have to drag these SD3 mediums into the checkpoint models. So, in the models files, check the checkpoints folders. As you can see, I have other checkpoint models right here already. What I did is I copied and pasted that into here, and we are done. So the SD3 medium is here. In this video, I will only demonstrate this one. I won't do the other two. I will play around with those and try them later on to see if they are worth recommending to you guys or not. So again, download the workflows from Hugging Face. Next, we are going to integrate the text encoder. Create a folder named text encoder, and I have 4 of these encoder models already. Again, you don't have to download the FP16 if you have a tight storage size on your hard disk, as it costs about 9 GB in file size. The compulsory 3 model files are clip-G, clip-L, and T5XXL FP8. Using these 3 is good enough to run Stable Diffusion 3 right now. So, we go back to the models folder in ComfyUI and go to the clip subfolder in models. Right here, we put our text encoder. As you can see, there's a tip of no. By default, ComfyUI comes with a note saying to put the clip or text encoder models here, so it's very straightforward. Put that into here, and we are good to go. Actually, to save some space, I delete this part, and we have this one here. And yeah, there we go. We have basically finished the integration of SD3 in ComfyUI. Putting the clip text and checkpoint models in the models folder. Now we go back to see our ComfyUI interface. So back to the ComfyUI interface. As you can see right here, we click the reload or refresh button. Once we click this button, after we download the model files, etc., then you will come back here and choose the SD3 medium safe tensors files right here. I have not put them into any subfolders. They will be right directly in the checkpoint folder. So it's very clean for understanding for you guys. In the clip loader here, we have clip G, clip L, and T5XXL FP8 right here. There's no need to change any values or choose anything special here. If you have the T5XXL FP16, then you choose that one. If you prefer to have better quality, higher resolutions, etc., that will be more fancy. And right here, we see by default a text prompt. Let's try this one and see how it looks. So click Q prompt and let it run. Okay, it's running pretty fast for just an image with that many large, folder files and stuff going around. And okay, that looks okay. Normally, I feel like, well, yeah, it's more artistic. But the body anomaly still needs to be fixed because you see the breast is right in the lower chest part. It shouldn't be that low. I mean, even if you have a large breast size, it still shouldn't be that low. And the shoulders in this part, should be if you are like a normal human. The middle chest point should be right here, and the female part should not be that low. I'm not sure if that is generated in the right part or not. Let's generate something else. Let's try another text prompt demo. Another one is the digital art. So this one is going to generate a tiger warrior in full body armor. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that is more like it. Well, not perfect. I can say it's good, it's okay for a base model to generate something like that. But then, yeah, you cannot be too picky with the base model. Like, oh, this part is not good, it needs more detail. And, some parts need more detail. I mean, come on, this is just a base model. Some people try to be so picky and act like perfectionist artists. For those people, then don't use this. Don't try to do any experiments or anything because you won't achieve any success with that attitude. So I would say okay with this image. It has very solid coloration and fully understands the multiple elements within the text prompt. For example, we see a tiger warrior. This is one of the keywords, and full body armor, close up, medium of a battle, things like that. It has fully followed through these text prompts. That's why the benchmark of SD3 surpasses other image diffusion models on the market right now, because it's able to, very highly follow up with your text prompts, even if you have multiple elements highlighted in the text prompt. One thing they have done pretty well is text within images. So let's see if they have shown some text in here. I forgot right here. Okay, so this time it's a fail. It should be showing open source in here, but it doesn't come close to this highlighted word, open source. So let's use a random seed number and generate one more time and see. Okay, this time it's very close. We have the open and source. We're missing the O from the word source, but it's still very close, better than many other image diffusion models out there. And let's see on the lower part right here. Yeah, although this is a base model, it goes into great detail even with the elements in the background. There are many warriors in the war zone and things like that. It's still able to project those elements into the background. And yeah, this looks pretty okay. I can't say it's a great image, but it's pretty okay. Something that other diffusion models cannot do at this moment. So that is something good about Stable Diffusion 3. Right now, let's try another text prompt. For this one, we are doing an animal, like a photo of a dog and a cat. So here's the text prompt. First of all, we see there is a box labeled SD3 and dogs, cats, and a bird. Okay, so right here we see well, it's almost perfect in following the text prompt. This image result is almost perfect in following the text prompt. But for the arty picky people, you might say something is not good enough. The coloration might not be good enough for you. So, whatever. For those people, don't try to use SD3 right now. But from a scientific point of view, for AI model research, I think this is good enough as it follows the instructions of making the word SD3 in the red box. This is a good check mark. And the dog, and the cat, the bird with a blue ball. Let's bring this text prompt right beside here. We see it more clearly. So, the blue ball in the middle with a parrot standing on top of the ball. As you can see, this is the text prompt. If you bring it to SDXL or SD 1.5, they won't be able to follow fully. So right here, as we can see, the text prompts in detail in this word. The sentence here is not just a typical keyword-based text prompt, it is actually natural language. A blue ball in the middle with a parrot standing on top of the ball. If you put this text prompt, this natural language sentence, in other diffusion models, whatever you have, DALL-E or Midjourney, any other competitor of Stable Diffusion at this moment, I don't think any of them can produce something that follows the instruction exactly the same in the AI image. It's fully fulfilled the instructions of this text prompt in this image. And also the box has the text SD3, which is also followed, and a photo of a dog and a cat both standing on the red box. It's pretty close. Well, you cannot say that they are standing on top of it, but they are standing beside this red box. Logically, it's okay. So I think their instruction following in this model is pretty good. But if you are one of those picky arty types who are never satisfied with any kind of art and things, I don't think you should use AI to make something. Just go back to the old days. Using your pen and drawing is good enough for you. We are analyzing stuff here in a scientific way, more data-driven. So let's try this prompt. This is another text prompt. This text prompt talks about a selfie of a wizard with a long beard, purple robes. He is appearing in the middle of Tokyo and properly taken from a phone. the photo is taken. So a selfie. Yeah, looks like pretty much like a selfie. Coloration does follow the prompt, and Tokyo looks like it has some similar Japanese banners and buildings. It looks like those shopping center areas of Tokyo. It really looks like that. And the wizard outfit. Yep, it does follow everything. So yeah, for their text prompt formulations, I think it's pretty cool. Let's try something else. Let's try to mix this one with my text right now. Let's say a selfie photo of a wizard with red robes, and she looks very young. So let's try this one. I modified the previous text prompt and changed it to red color, and it's a female wizard. By doing that, I don't use a normal text prompt like back in SD 1.5 or SDXL. We usually use male or female in the text prompt, but this time I don't identify those. Just put he or she in a natural language manner. Let's try. See if this is able to identify. So, looks cool. This is a very young wizard and it's new. So my changes here are the color red and the fact that she is very young and in the middle of New York. So let's check it out. Yeah, it looks like New York. Yep. We see the color of her outfit is red, and she is really young, like a young Asian. So let's be more specific here. Middle of New York, Times Square. Let's see if this diffusion model understands what happens in this specific area and generates the background of that. Okay, so we got it. It looks like Times Square with the buildings and the corner places. But the people around, and look at this guy. It looks funny. His head is turning around, but the head is oversized for his body. That is kind of cool. I don't have many things to complain about regarding the image generated from the text prompt. Actually, this time, I think even though this is a very small-sized model, was it 2 billion parameters? It does a good job, running locally. And you have all this complex text from wording in natural language, and it's able to follow up. I see this is even better than, a lot of DALL-E or whatever else you have in the market. Let's try one more, the last one here. This is another text-to-image using SD3 medium. Let's see if they have generated it well or not. So this is a graphite, more artistic style, but this time it doesn't follow too much for graffiti. Well, we can see S and D and 3, but we are missing the medium somewhere. Let's generate one more time and see if they can do that. Alright, this is better. We see the S, but it is missing the... Oh, actually, it's combining the D with a 3 right here. It should not do that. It's not good. But the medium is spelled correctly. So I think for AI image generation, especially in this case like text-to-image, we have to generate a few times to get a better or good result in diffusion models. Right now, sometimes it's still not able to fully follow the text prompt accurately, especially it is only able to do something close to it. But like this example, yeah, the SD3 is very close. But again, the medium wording in this graffiti style is still not fully spelled correctly. It cannot fully generate the word medium correctly in the image art. So there's still something that can be fine-tuned. Maybe we can fine-tune the base model or the clip text models to make it better. But so far it looks okay. And let's try one more thing. I want to do an experiment with this. We can see the properties here. Yeah, doing for SD3 latent image. And let's see if I can do image to image using SD3. At least that is something that we should have. And yes, we can do image to image with SD3. So basically, we are using the same mechanism as in SD 1.5 or SDXL, using the VAE encode, and the VAE point are connecting with our SD3 VAE data output right here. And in the case of the sampler, if you want to have a very similar image, then you lower the denoise to, 0 0.5 or even lower. And here's the result. So something that is very similar to my AI image. This is the source image and this is the generated image. It looks more detailed using the SD3, and it's able to reproduce the text on my t-shirt in the SD3 generated image. And this is really cool. Let's try out some more images. And by the way, we don't need to add any text in the text prompt area. Actually, let's generate one more time. As we can see, it truly depends on the input image for the image to image right here. So there you go. we don't have any text problems, and we can just rely on the image to generate an image here. One more thing we can do is, try some other images. Right now, let's try out the Volkswagen and see this. This image has always been used for making some animation demos, and let's try to use that. I want to push the noise a little bit higher this time and see if there's some new creativity from SD3. Alright, this looks okay. Not too much, but it doesn't make sense that it has two suns. So let's try to generate one more time and see. And again, okay, this looks more sensible with an image to image. Yeah, so I pretty much like this one. The car and everything behind it form a pretty natural scene. And we'll see if we can, do some other things. Hopefully there are some newer supporting models in Stable Diffusion 3. As I saw, at the beginning of this year, Stability AI announced that it's able to do all this cool stuff for compositions, control, and collaborations. And I'm not sure where those object change features are right now. Especially for these animations, they are talking about like changing the aquarium, and then the aquarium is moving, so that means it is an animation, and hopefully they are going to release something like that in this model rather than just text to image. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you have some inspiration on how to use SD3, and we will talk soon. See ya.